I mean, I've admired your work for a couple years now, and I thought I wanted to introduce you to my live stream audience and just my audience in general. So,
my name is Masako Ganaha. I'm from Okinawa, Japan, and I am an independent journalist.
So I first heard of you when you were in Portland and other parts of America in 2020 when there was lots of riots. And what I admired about you is that you went out on your own and you were willing to interview people that corporate media maybe wouldn't take an interest in. And you were able to grasp, I saw, a very kind of a good understanding of the dynamics of the actors that were involved in the riots. What made you, one, head into these places that were experiencing a lot of unrest, like Portland, for example?
Why I went there? Because I was curious what was happening.
Just a curiosity?
Yes, and actually I was learning a lot by going many places, because many Japanese people don't know what's really happening in America. So I just went there and then I just turned on camera and then let's see what I'm going to find out.
How did Japanese media cover George Floyd and the riots in America?
Okay, so basically most of corporate media in Japan, they are in favor of those rioters. So they say, oh, it's just a racism issue. And it's much like your CNN in America.
Is it really that bad?
It's very bad, yes.
Wow, so I had a misunderstanding then. I thought that Japanese corporate media would perhaps be a little bit better, but clearly not.
No.
You went to many different cities in America. What, for you, was anything shocking? Did it shatter your perception of American culture or cohesion or society? What was the most shocking thing you saw?
So many shocking things.
Okay, name the top three.
Okay, the number one shocking was when I visited California, Skid Row. I was driving with other journalists, and then because I am a good driver, I was driving, and then we just started wandering around, and the other person was shooting camera. And then the lady outside, she's one of the homeless, I think, she saw us filming. So she was saying, they are taking photo of us. We could hear it, the voice. And then like, Masako, hit the axle, you know? And then we were just keep going. That was the most shocking thing.
The homelessness encampments.
Yes. We were not
and the aggression of the people there.
I just wanted to see what's really happening, because it's shocking for me to see so many homeless tents like this, and many people are like acting very weird or drinking or like seem to be under drug. I saw a person doing like froze like this, and I learned that this is type of one of the famous drug that will make you specifically froze like this. So that was the shocking thing.
Do you think that type of, in Japan, is that type of behavior tolerated in the public?
We don't see this.
You don't see, but would it be tolerated if it were to happen?
No, I don't think so. I was shocked to see that local police let this happen. And the other number two shocking thing was that when I went to Oregon, I heard that needle exchange. So, okay, and the person who told me about this happening said the church is distributing this. So I was like, church? So I went to a church, and then actually there is a van that was operated by local officials. So it was not the church itself, but the place was church parking spot was the place. And then I decided to walk to the van, and then I said, I want needle. Like I heard I can get needle here. And then the person didn't ask my ID or my name, nothing. But the next question that I got was, how many do you need? I was shocked once again. And I said, 5. because I did not know how many to get. And then the person inside was, I think she was kind of like got suspicious of me maybe, and she was half laughing, I think, and then gave me a box. It was like 100 needle. That was the minimum size of the
100 was the minimum.
Yes.
Wow, I think, yeah, so I can see why that would be shocking. Unfortunately, when you describe this, a lot of Americans have been desensitized. As you probably have learned in your time in America, there's a belief that is mainstream in liberal areas and among liberal people that the compassionate thing to do with people who are homeless or suffer from severe mental illness or drug abuse is to let them do it and let them live where they want. And so in places like in California, in places like Portland and Seattle, the local officials restrict the police ability to clear out the encampments. And so the encampments grow, or if they're moved, they just relocate and they come back. And with the needle exchanges, the belief behind that is, well, if they're going to use drugs by injection anyways, let's give them clean needles to do it. And in my state of where I'm from, Oregon, in 2020, as part of a number of left-wing related political reforms in the law, the legislature passed a law that decriminalized the possession of hard drugs. By hard drugs, I'm talking about cocaine, heroin, meth. All you get now is a citation, a small fine, $100, and if you don't pay it, nothing happens anyways. And in Portland, or in Oregon, we've seen a spike since then of overdose deaths. Mm-hmm. And, you know, sometimes I find myself desensitized too, in a way that, you know, I'm an American citizen, so then I see things as an American, but then I can also, my parents come from Vietnam and I have family there, and so then when I explain things in American urban areas to my family in Vietnam, they almost don't believe me that, wait, in America you would allow people to use drugs on your streets? And I said, yes, they do. And they actually encourage it in a number of ways, through the law or through these so-called drug programs. What are some other shocking things you saw?
What are some of the shocking things? I don't know. I think what I'm saying is politically way incorrect, but I don't know the difference. I'm gonna say it anyway. So the things that made me surprised is everything is under the name of welfare, and I think it's not welfare. It's just harming. And the one thing I was shocked was I was driving, and on the street I saw a toilet, like a portable toilet. It's okay for everybody to use it. I can understand. But what written on the toilet was, it's more than just a toilet. It's something like it's a right or something like that. I was shocked. You know, I think the idea of everybody is equal and everybody has to live better life has become to just ideology. Like, why don't you just put toilet and let everybody use it? Why do you have to put the sign on it? So that was the shocking thing for me. Yes.
Yes, there's in Western culture, there's a belief that certain things are just rights, kind of rights out of nowhere. Right to housing, right to money, if you are living in poverty, right to, you know, we can go on and on and on. And with that, there's no expectation of self-responsibility. And I mean, that's kind of part of the driving philosophy behind these things that you observe that have led to so much dysfunction in many urban areas. What do you think are through your independent reporting, what are some other things that you have helped illuminate to your Japanese audiences? Like, did your audience, were they really surprised by anything that you said or showed?
I think yes, and the reports that I did from Portland particularly caught attention by Japanese people, because Portland is known for many Japanese as beautiful.
Portland.
Portland. We say Portland. Our sound is very difficult. It's a very famous place to visit.
That's right.
So when people saw my live stream, they were truly shocked. That's the most thing that I was. The comment I got was something like this. So at the same time, people realized that how much media has not shown us the reality. Yes, by showing this, they understand. Oh, we don't know this much.
I think there's. Okay, let me know if this is completely wrong. I have this perception that the Japanese society, Japan, is not at risk of the political instability that you see in America, because one, you have a homogenous society where the overwhelming majority are ethnic Japanese with the same cultural and religious background. Two, there's a certain element of conformism to the culture, right? Yes. Is that a correct perception?
Yes, I think it's correct, but at the same time, it's under attack too.
Who's under attack by?
For example, we have strong value in family,
Yes.
but there is this. I think it's propaganda to destroy our traditional value. For example, family is not just father, mother, children, but it's like we can create the form of family, that kind of things. I do not say that, like I don't like LGBTQ. Like I don't say I don't like them, but it's okay. But it should not be ideology, And so.
Did you always recognize that it has become ideology? Did you know that before you came to America?
I did not know. I was shocked to know that America has turned like this. And yes, and many Japanese people like things come from outside, especially American culture. So we love America. And so still now, the media is trying to use our tendency to introduce radical ideology too. Yes, that's what happened.
In your media?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Have they had much success though, or is the pushback from that strong?
Pushback is not so strong because many Japanese people are still sleeping. That's why I'm trying to wake people up. And we have a BLM movement, and we have Antifa people.
And you have a communist party.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought they were very active in a lot of the protests over the years against the late former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. Tell us about some of these Antifa and BLM protests that have happened in Japan. I looked into it a little bit. Was that seen as out of character for Japanese culture and politics, or is that normal?
This is new to us, particularly BLM, and I don't so much. I have not witnessed Antifa movement, but if I type Japan and Antifa, I can see the photos. Actual protests took place.
Yeah.
BLM. Actually, I'm from Okinawa, and I saw on Twitter there are so
many.
And
that's an island off the southern coast of Japan.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think. Sorry. Continue.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. In Okinawa, there is BLM signs, and there is particular town that I saw. They have handouts, like they have pamphlets and T-shirts, and people who are organizing this movement, but it has not picked up so much. So they are, I think, trying to push this, but it has not been successful yet.
And what's the most dangerous situation do you think you've been in your years of time spending abroad now, covering protests, unrest, riots?
Most dangerous
Yeah, what's the
moment?
most dangerous for you personally, where you felt you were actually quite concerned for your safety?
Oh,
If there was a moment.
not as much as you experienced, but at one night, I think I was in Oregon and
Portland.
yes. And then I was driving, it was like around midnight and near the courthouse. And then I saw some people, like crowd, looked like Antifa crowd. So not by myself, but I was with other people too. But we drove and take a look. And then like, okay, let's just park here and see what's gonna happen. So we parked near their crowd, and then I was in the car and we turned off everything. And then we saw, it was like really close distance, maybe 4 meters away, there was one person armed with a gun. And then, if he noticed me, is he gonna shoot me? That was the intense moment that I experienced. And then I did live stream from the car. And like I said, I'm in a car and I see Antifa people and one has a gun in his hand. And let's see what's gonna happen. Like, this is a real live stream. And that's what I did.
So you witnessed, the armed far left in America, which is a more newer phenomenon. And in many of those situations, they have killed people. They've been killed themselves as well. What do you think Japan is most vulnerable at from these outside ideologies? What do you think, if there's one thing that could potentially become mainstream in Japan, what is it? Is it the LGBTQ ideology?
I think it comes down to our core value in family. Because one thing I noticed by listening to you too is that we are human, right? So whatever we do, it has to be something individually within us that can be like destroyed, and then next something bad would happen. So what I'm trying to say is that this is one thing I learned from war correspondent Michael Young that I have interviewed before. He said, like, many people ask for the spark, but what we have to focus on is the atmosphere or condition. So if the condition is set right, then the spark can be anything. For example, fire. If it's dried and then forest and no rain, then spark can be anything. Maybe arsonist can put on fire, or it can be accident by somebody put cigarette. Anything can be cause a big fire, but if the condition is set, then huge things, problem can happen. So for us in Japan, the condition can be attack on family, because for me, for example, personally, if I were forced to do something bad, then I would first think, what my father would think, what my mother would think. So the family is the stop bar for me to make mistake. Of course, I am a human, so I'm learning a lot, but always I think of family. And I think that's happened to many Japanese people too. So if you don't have a strong tie among your family, then you can do anything. Or you would want to find a stronger tie outside, because you cannot live with by yourself. We are human, so we need to live in a group. So one thing I found in common for the people who do extreme activism in America, and the activists in Japan, we have those people too. The common thing is that they don't have strong family value, I think. What happens if you do something against police? Then the family will try to stop you. What are you doing? You know, like, you're a valuable person in my family. Don't do this, like, don't hurt yourself. But if you don't have this, then nobody would stop you. So that's the condition, I think. And if Japanese people lose core value in family, then we can be susceptible to anything. Yes.
That is such a good observation, important observation, and I'm really glad you pointed that out. You and I just did our own interview. We do talk about this subject, but yes, there is this certain, over and over, what I've seen from the Antifa that I've covered is they are cut off from their families by their own choice, and they may have been brought up in actually unfortunate situations where they didn't have good relationships with their parents. Even though most of your audience is Japanese, your interviews, I think almost all of them are conducted in English, right?
Yes.
Yes. So how can people watch your content?
Yes. I have my own YouTube channel under name Masako Gananha, and I'm going to do interviews in English. And for Japanese people, I will put Japanese subtitle. Or if I do live, then I will have the English answer, and then right after I translate it in Japanese, so both can listen.
Well, I've been a fan of yours, and I just want to thank you for the work that you're doing. I think you are really, I can't think of anybody else, and it's, you know, you're doing a great cost and time to shed a light, and Japan's really lucky to have you, and I hope that others take inspiration from your work to become better informed about these certain political trends that are happening in the US and in Western Europe, dangerous trends that I would argue. Thank you.
I really thank you and your audience for supporting Andy. That's why I got to learn what you do. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.